Hello and welcome to Animal Watch on tour in Florida, USA. And today I'm going to be putting my hand down the throat of a monster fish. What will happen?
The Florida Keys are located off the southern coast of Florida, forming the southernmost portion of the continental USA. The climate and environment of the islands are closer to that of the Caribbean than the rest of Florida, though, unlike the Caribbean's volcanic islands, the Keys were built by plants and animals. The Upper Keys Islands are composed of sandy type accumulations of limestone grains produced by plants and marine organisms. The Lower Keys are the remnants of large coral reefs, which became fossilized and exposed as sea level declined. And we get to enjoy them via the Overseas Highway, which was built to link mainland USA with Key West right at the end.
All right, today I am headed halfway down Islamorada Key in the Florida Keys because I've been promised the opportunity to get up really close with an immense fish. Now, this fish really enjoys taking food off humans, and sometimes it will take your hand and even the top half of your arm down its throat. I'm not sure whether I should be scared or excited. I'm certainly curious.
We arrive at Robbie's, a waterfront restaurant and marina which has built a reputation for its tarpon population, who like to swim around their dock area hoping for food from the arriving tourists. But why do over 100 tarpon a day frequent these docks, and how did it all start? I wanted to find out the backstory. The restaurant's owner, Robbie, and his wife, Mona, started feeding a tarpon called Scarface in 1976. Scarface appeared floundering in the shallow waters near the dock. Robbie lifted the fish up and saw that the right side of its jaw was torn open. A local doctor showed up with his wife's mattress needles and some twine, and Scarface became the first known tarpon with stitches. After several days of feeding, Scarface showed good recovery and weight gain. 6 months later, he was released into the waters off the dock. Afterwards, Scarface continued to frequent the docks, sometimes bringing a friend. Soon, more and more of the fish began to appear. Today, the tradition continues, with visitors from all over the world coming to marvel at the spectacle and offer these magnificent creatures a snack.
Okay, we take one of these. Yum. Looks good, doesn't it? Well, I've got my bucket of bait and I've got my hand and my arm ready and willing to go down the throat of this monster fish. Are you ready to see what happens? Okay, well, come with me then.
As we walk down the dock, I see the tarpon's shadowy figures under the surface of the water. Their huge eyes staring up at me, their eager jaws limbering up for their jump into the unknown to claim their prize. But would my hand be their prize? Or at least would I get bitten or damaged in some way? Well, this is a little scary as I've seen other people doing this, and often their entire hand disappears inside the throat of the tarpon. Now, I should be petrified, but I'm not, as I have been reassured that they have a bony plate inside their mouth rather than teeth, so I may get some damage, but at least it's not going to be that on the scale of a barracuda or piranha. We fed a few really large and scary looking tarpon, but the tradition is to get a bleeding hand, which means the tarpon has to put his mouth right up your arm to take the fish. The tarpon were taking my bait fish, but I wasn't getting any of them to engulf my hand and arm. Was my technique all wrong? I decided to talk to Robbie's expert, Wild Bill Stevens, who had some advice for me.
It was a prehistoric fish here, very not unlike a carp from the Midwest. They've been around for millennium. They don't have teeth. They have a bony mandible, but as you can see in some of the larger fish, because they're so old, being immersed in the salt water for such a long period of time, there will build some calcification along the bony mandible. So what you have is a small tarpon with a very smooth mouth. The big ones get striations, almost like teeth, but not teeth. And so consequently, when they have calcification on their mandible, they can scratch you up. 9 times out of 10 it doesn't happen because most people scream like a little girl and drop the fish. But if you hold on to it long enough, it'll come up the hand, because their eyes being what they are, when they open their mouth, their eyes will roll back.
Okay.
So they can't really see. Once they make the target, as they're coming up, they tilt their head back and their eyes, they're basically blind.
Okay.
So they don't really know what they're getting, and neither do you.
All right.
Which makes it more interesting.
So if I'm holding the fish, should I
hold
it on by the tail?
Yes.
And they will still got my hand if they can't get the fish, as long as I don't let go of the fish.
Right.
Okay, I will try.
Be brave.
Okay, so now I had the advice, it was time to put this into practice. Would I get the bite I needed? And would I get bloodied and get a true traditional tarpon bite?
They're dry. It's my personal space.
Oh my God.
Got a good hold on it.
There you go.
Gotta take her. Oh.
Just leave it there. Sometimes I tell people to close their eyes.
So we don't scream like girls.
Yeah. Wiggle it a little bit. Here comes a big one.
Oh my gosh, it's huge.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Blood!
When you come in.
And that's the way to do it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Animal Watch on tour in the USA with the ferocious tarpon. And yes, he did take my hand down his throat. And look at that. But you know what? Doesn't really hurt that much. Remember, they've only got bony plates. They haven't got teeth. So if you fancy coming and feeding the tarpon, then you can head on down to Robbie's in Islamorada. I'm going to go now and head on back and think about some more predators that I might get up close with on this tour. Bye for now.
If you would like to find out how you too can feed the tarpon, then drop by Robbie's website at www.robbies.com.